Danny Vegas time, Danny Vegas World Classic Business Titans today. I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. We do have one more show before the end of the year. We've got some guests coming in next week. It's going to be great. Lots of fun. Wish my co-host, hashtag Sharp Tank, hashtag Lady in Red. And remember, you heard it here first. We are going to be looking for the third hashtag One Lucky Gal co-host early in the first quarter of 2018. Okay, Alexis Brown, your champion of justice. Next, right here. Go. All right, pal, now we can do it. Segment 4, Business Titan Alexis Brown, your champion of justice. On the Danny Vegas Live Show, the last segment, last show of the last week. On the Danny Vegas Live Show, and we love having her here. It's always so good.
I enjoy having you, too.
Well,
Being here, I guess. Sorry, my bad.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Okay, let's get into this. Now,
Yes.
We know, we talked about this about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I kind of went over a scenario where, old Danny Vegas working in the warehouse is chasing girls in the front office, and they have to come back to the warehouse to do invoicing, and I'm back there like, hey, how you doing? And how...
What do we do as business owners, right?
So, but this time we're going to talk about business owners. We're going to talk about, okay, so here's a different scenario, Alexis Brown. Danny Vegas owns this successful janitorial company.
Okay.
I own a janitorial company, and it's big, and it's all over the place. We're cleaning offices. We have female employees, male employees. We treat them right. We got benefits. Danny Vegas is fat, dumb, and happy. He loves to hang out with his employees at the barbecues and stuff. And he walks into the office one day, and there is the HR lady with a sexual harassment complaint by one of his female employees towards one of his, say, mid-supervisors. Someone
Under you.
He's under me,
okay.
But he's over her.
Of course.
Of course, we have learned it doesn't matter if she's over or under. It could be whatever the situation. The question is, here's the scenario. I have a sexual harassment procedure and policy in my company.
Mm-hmm. As you should.
I am serious about this. I have daughters. I have wives. I know what could happen out there. I have when everybody's hired, we have training.
Of course.
We have training.
As you should.
At this workplace, hey, what you do on the rest of the world's your own time, but you're on here, your eyes straight.
Yep.
And mind's forward.
Correct.
But here I got a complaint.
It happens. It happens.
How? What now? What? Huh? Who is this guy? I don't even know this guy.
Well, we don't freak out.
Okay, we don't freak out. Rule number 1, don't freak out. But, okay, go from there. Okay, I call you up.
You don't freak out. No,
Okay.
I mean, you deal with it. You do investigation. That's, look at Matt Lauer, right? They investigate him. When these kinds of things come to light, HR does a complete investigation. They talk to the witnesses. They do the whole thing. They see if the allegations are true. And if they are, then that's when, the company has to decide or has a policy on what their consequences are, depending on how bad it is, you know what I mean, those kinds of things, what it is, what was substantiated, those kinds of things, right? So the employer really has to go through that process in order to make sure that everything is done correctly, because here's the thing, you don't want to not give a victim redress, because
what's that mean?
Sort of, compensation or take care of them, what I mean, do what you're supposed to do for them, but you also don't want to wrongfully fire somebody,
right?
You know what I mean, on that same vein. So you have to be careful about both of those things.
Right.
So you do the investigation, make sure everything is good to go, and then you make a decision as to whether or not they need to stay or go. Matt Lauer had to go, didn't he?
Yeah, well, that guy, he's... But, the situation can be so confusing. Okay,
of course.
I'm sitting in my office, the H&R lady comes in, and she says, well, the lady that filed a complaint... she filed a complaint against this gentleman, but this gentleman says they went out a couple times and he thought they were dating. Now I'm like, what am I, the date judge? What am I now? I mean, and it could be like that.
It can. I mean, and we had a whole segment on workplace relationships and all of that. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's definitely one of those situations where things can get dicey. But again, it's a matter of doing the investigation and seeing what comes out of it.
I think what is going to happen is most companies, like, I don't care if you were dating, I don't care if you're engaged, man. This piece of paper says you're gone.
Well, here's the thing: you can have a workplace policy on dating too.
Oh yeah, you can. But who's going to listen to that?
People do. I know. I mean, here's the thing: I know that we had one at the big law firm that I worked at, and people tried their best to abide by it. I mean, of course, it's lawyers and the law firm, but at the same time, I mean, that's why you have them in place, though, because then as an employer, you can say, look, I had a policy on this. You were supposed to be doing this.
That's right, because that's what I wanted to get to. Because I can get into all these scenarios, but the question is, if my company, my janitorial company, Danny Vegas Janitorial Service, I did have a policy in place. Mm-hmm. I did have an investigation. I did have a procedure. I did have a policy. Obviously, we have to investigate. We found that maybe this gentleman did break it, or maybe they, were dating and they got into a fight, and now all of a sudden I got this. What's happening?
Whatever the facts are, say they decided that it was enough to fire him. Right? Then they've done their best to mitigate their damages, which is essentially, they have taken action against this person who violated their policies, you know what I mean? So that's what they've done, essentially what they need to do.
So the big question is, Alexis Brown, is, am I still liable? Can I be sued by this young lady who's like, I work the graveyard shift and I clean these offices, and you stuck me with this predator guy, and it's made me uncomfortable. I'm scared. Now you fired him. Now I'm really scared. Am I liable?
Well, there's sort of two aspects to that. I think the first is, what did the employer know? Mm-hmm. I mean, if the employer knew that this guy was a creep and touched women and did, series repeated events and didn't do anything until something crazy went down, or I don't, you know what I mean?
I actually got a piece of paper now.
Well, no. It's just not even a matter of getting the piece of paper. It's just a matter of they knew the guy was doing X. They knew, you know what I mean? Or there was a series of events that had been reported. Something. Rumors. Yeah, it depends, on the facts, of course, but I could see that being a situation where the employer could still be held liable if they knew and didn't do anything, okay? Or, well, I mean, that's really the main one. I mean, if they didn't do anything,
it's
that's the problem. If they did what they, were supposed to, but per se as well, if it's a serious enough event, I mean, say it's, God forbid, a rape at a place like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? That is a serious enough event where there's still somebody has to. They're going to help out that victim, you know what I mean? I mean, as a business matter, they're going to, you know what I mean? But also legally, they owe them some things too, even though it's just one event, you know what I mean? It's still one of those things where, but let's also have insurance.
Do you think the insurance, I should talk to insurance people, but is there a sexual harassment law? Can you get, like, I need a sexual harassment policy, because I know I got 5,000 employees out there, and I know someone's is gonna touch somebody wrong.
I think it's covered under your errors and omissions insurance, I think, usually, you know what I mean? Or at least tender your defense, you know what I mean? Those kinds of things, legal defense is part of it, you know what I mean? So I think it's part of that.
But what did we learn out of this? It doesn't matter. Like I said, it doesn't matter if it's one of your managers.
No.
It doesn't matter if it's the guy that you hired last week. You don't even know his name. Okay, if he is in a position where he's making women uncomfortable at work.
And for the record, it goes the other way, too. I mean, men can also be sexually harassed. We don't talk about it enough, but it is true. And I know Danny has his theories, but...
Men do not get sexually harassed.
Men can get sexually harassed, too. Here's the thing. What about gay men? Gay men absolutely get harassed at work.
I will tell you something, and I said so in my argument. I don't know anything about that. I just know about the guys and the girl thing, okay? But you're right. If we want to go there...
Transgender.
If there are... Whatever your affections are for,
you can be harassed because of it.
You can have someone above you that has the same persona, and they can use that power to gain affection from you.
Sorry.
So, yes, so I can honestly probably say men do get sexually harassed, but I still say women do not sexually harass men. They don't. They just don't do it. So they don't need to. But that's another argument, and
a whole nother day.
A whole nother day. The important thing is, as a business owner, call in your HR. Call in if your wife is the HR, whoever. Call them in and say, what is our policy? I don't care if you have 3 employees, 2 employees, subcontractors,
Well,
whatever.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though. You have to have 15 employees to be an employer under those sexual discrimination and
Well, see,
harassment statutes.
that's
so.
why I have lawyers in the house. Okay, so if you have over 15 people, you need to call in HR and say, what are we doing? What happens if something happens? And if you are unprepared, you are going to get whacked. Because this is serious stuff now.
All right, Danny. Almost time to go. Go so fast.
Let's tell us how to get a hold of you.
AlexisBrownLaw.com. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and please come and see us at the party next week on Thursday.
That's right. All right. I plan on being there, Danny Vegas, in the flesh.
All right.
All right. We'll see you next week on the Danny Vegas Live Show.